Hello and welcome. I am going to be showing you how to make a planter similar to this one right here. I'm going to kind of tip it over, show you a little bit what it looks like. This one is 18 inches wide by 41 inches long and about 18 inches tall. Let's dive right in. First thing we're going to do is build the frame. So when you're doing this, you're going to want to start with your longest boards first and work your way down to the smallest boards. That's going to make sure that you maximize your wood and have a lot less waste. Now for the assembly of my frame, I'm going to be putting it together with pocket screws. So with that, I'm going to be using the Craig jig. We're going to put one hole on each side and we're going to build it very similar to how you'd build a face frame. So we have all of our pieces cut, we have all of our pocket holes drilled. Next up, we're going to be building the frame with the pieces we cut. So I'm going to start screwing this together. We're going to be using 2.5 inch pocket screws to put this all together. Now when we do the bottom, I'm going to be using a spacer block to make sure they're all in the same place. All I do is slip that right in there. So we're going to put some glue, slide it in place, clamp it. Then I'm going to make sure everything is tight and add in another screw. Same thing on this side. We're going to apply glue to both of them at the same time. Now one of the things that you'll notice is I did not take the time to spread the glue out perfectly on the entire piece, and that's okay. Once you screw everything together, that glue is really going to ooze all over the place and get probably, I would say, 90% coverage, which is more than adequate for what these are. They're not going to be in like a high use area where they're going to be slammed all over the place and make it easy to break. The screw is really just kind of holding it in place until that glue cures, but it's also going to act as a bond to keep everything together over the duration of the life of these planters. So I personally would not recommend just taking the time to do it. It's going to take you a lot longer, but if you feel that it's necessary, have at it. It's also not going to hurt anything. All right, so now that you have all the frames together, what we're going to do is we're going to start connecting the two frames together. So we're going to do that with a cross piece that's going to go across, connecting the two together. These also have pocket screws in them. Now, I'm putting all of my pocket screws to the outside, so that way once I put the cedar on, it's going to cover up all of those holes. You don't see them on the inside. It's going to look much, much better. So for this, you can do it one of two ways. Either way, I'm going to be putting glue on here. You can clamp it down so when you screw it, it stays in place perfectly. Or if you're quick enough with the drill and you're strong enough, you can kind of just hold it right there and it's not going to move and it's going to be much, much faster. So similar result, much quicker method. So I'm going to hold these in place, screw them in, and get going on to the next step. So what you'll notice is that I'm getting all these cross members on first. I'm going to leave it upside down, put glue on all four of the ends, and then after I get that on there, I can grab the other frame, and again, pocket holes out, and get it all lined up. And I'm going to do the exact same thing, screw it all together, and then this frame will be done and ready for the cedar to be applied. Now that the frame is together, I'm going to start cutting up the cedar to wrap the boxes. So first thing you're going to do, you're going to always want to square your one end. Now I'm cutting a bunch of them at a time to save time. Now when you're squaring the edge of the board, you want to make sure there's no cracks. If there are, make sure you kind of cut further up the board to get rid of those. You don't want those on there at all. So now that I squared my end, I'm going to slide it down the table. I have a fence here that'll tell me the sizes, so I have it all set. Make sure everything's lined up perfect. Cut my boards. Now again, you want to start with the long ones first. The scrap on here is going to work for the short ends. So cut the long ones first and then get to the short ones. Now that all of my siding is cut, I'm going to start putting it onto these frames. So what I'm going to do, I want to glue everything using exterior glue just to make sure everything's solid. Make sure if somebody's pulling on it at all, it's not going to pop off. If you put too much sod in there, that's not going to blow the outside out. So I glue it to secure it and then I pin it with brad nails. That seems to be holding up really well. So that's what my system is and how I do it. Now, when I put these on there, you're going to want to dry fit it for the first one just to make sure everything lines up properly. And just see how it fits. Once you do that, you're going to see it fits perfect as long as you cut it to the right sizes. and throw some glue on there and start nailing. I always start from the top and work my way down. That way I can make sure that everything is consistent going down. On the bottom, if it's off at all, you're not going to notice it. If it is off on the top though, with the top railing on there, you will definitely notice. Now, you also don't have to go crazy with brad nails. It doesn't need a ton. You know, put a couple in the ends, a couple in the middle, and that's more than enough. You really are just kind of securing it on there as a clamp until that glue dries, and that glue is really going to do the majority of the work. The next thing I'm going to be making are the leg covers. We're going to be cutting those to 2 3/4. Now that I have all of these cut, let's take them over to the chop saw. So for these leg covers, I'm going to cut 5 of them at a time. Now, if I am building nice cabinets, like kitchen cabinets or anything like that, I'm not cutting a bunch of boards all at once because I need to be perfect and precise. We're going to square up one end. I'm going to take off probably about 6 inches just to make sure none of the cracks at all are left in there. Legs are all cut, so I'm going to start assembling them onto the box. So for the legs, what they're going to do, they're going to just go right on the ends like this. So if you notice, it's going to make a butt joint. What I am doing is I am taking the end that's more exposed and I'm putting that on the side. Most people are going to be setting them up so they see the face. I'm making sure the face looks as good as humanly possible. And I'm doing that by putting the bad side on the outside. So that's the best way to do it without mitering. I wouldn't recommend mitering just because with the weather outside, everything's going to expand, contract a lot more, and it's going to end up looking uglier than if you just do a butt joint and leave it like that. So I'm going to put some glue in there and start nailing it together. Now, I like to do both of them at the same time, just so that way everything is lining up perfect. You could do one at a time, but it's going to be a lot harder to get everything to line up right. I just find that this is the easiest way for me. So once I get it lined up, tack it in there, a couple nails, make sure they're lined up. Now the other thing we're going to do on the bottom, we're going to put a nail right into the leg, so that way it's attached to the other side. And that's what we're going to do on all 4 corners. Now that I have all the leg covers on these planters, now I can start putting the rail on all these. So the size is the exact same as the legs, so I'm going to be able to use the same exact stock that I already cut before, start cutting those up to length, and I'm going to put those right on top. We're going to glue them. I don't need to explain that because I'm going to show you. Now that I have all my pieces cut to length, what I'm going to do is, typically I would dry fit them just to make sure everything fits, but I already did that when I did my prototype, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put glue around the whole top, and then I'm going to start nailing it all on. Everything's going to line up off of the inside edge. It's going to have a slight hangover. And you're going to want to put the rough edges on the outside. So the last thing I need to do is put the bottoms in the planter. So I have my boards cut up to the proper length. On the inside, you do have that 2x2 frame going down, so I'm going to have to cut a notch for that. You can do that 2 different ways. You can either measure it out and draw your lines, or you can just grab a cutoff, put it right on there, draw your line, and then you cut that. I'm going to do that because it's a lot quicker, a lot easier. So I'm just going to take this little stick, draw the line, and cut it out with the jigsaw. Another way you could do it, you could set up a jig with a router. That may be quicker for some people, but this to me is the most efficient way to do it. Then once you got your lines marked up, you're going to grab your jigsaw. Once you got that done, you're ready to start installing it into the bottom of the planter. Once we have everything in there, we're going to drop the pieces in. They should fit pretty good. We're going to be able to have about an 1/8 inch gap between each board. That's going to allow for drainage of the water as people are watering their plants. So then I get them all lined up where you want them, and then once they're in place, you're going to come back with a nail gun. And that's it, your planter is all done. They're not very hard to build. It's a very basic level of knowledge of what you need to make these. Thank you so much for watching, and look forward to seeing you next time.